she was very original. She was very selective. She felt she had to kind of almost train directors not to expect her to bring in more than 2 or 3 people for a role, and that they all would be different. She would not just bring in 3 identical prostitutes, They would be, every single one would bring something different. She always brought a different dimension to things.
That was Hollywood casting director Juliet Taylor talking about her legendary colleague, the late Marion Doherty. She cast dozens of films, including the 1969 Academy Award-winning film Midnight Cowboy. Doherty cast a little-known actor named Jon Voight to star alongside Dustin Hoffman. Voight had never starred in a film. He was nominated for Best Actor in Midnight Cowboy and won the award a decade later for the movie Coming Home. Casting decisions can make or break a film. And now the process could one day become high-tech with algorithms and artificial intelligence casting the top roles. Joining me now from Los Angeles is the co-founder of one of those companies, Tobias Queisser. He is the CEO of Cinelytic. Tobias, thank you so much for joining us. I think your work is a little mysterious to a lot of people, even those who follow Hollywood closely. So can you explain for our viewers how your algorithm works?
We don't just have an algorithm, but we created a platform. We call it an intelligence or artificial AI-driven film intelligence platform that really helps with all kinds of different decision makings around the business case of a film. And of course, casting is a very important one. So what we did, we looked at at the workflow of how a film is being put together and really build a tool that helps executives or film professionals supplement their creative process with something more data-driven.
What other elements do you look at besides casting? If you want to analyze and project performance of a film early on, it's called predictive forecasting. It's one of the tools that we have. We identified there are 15 attributes that drive film performance. That includes cast, it includes whether it's based on an IP, based on a book, or whether it's a franchise, the release size, potential rating or genre. There are many different factors that play a role when a film comes together. And so early on, what we can do mathematically is use, data from the past and AI that uses, the most advanced in pattern recognition to figure out how this particular piece of film or content can perform in the future. Well, that's what I want to ask you about, because you say using data from the past, and algorithms typically work by analyzing what's already happened. So
Correct.
Is it not really that significant if well, Jennifer Lawrence was just starring in the big summer blockbuster, so therefore she's of course going to be a more bankable star than another A-list actress who hasn't had a blockbuster for perhaps a year or 2. Isn't that kind of obvious?
Not everybody's going to get a Jennifer Lawrence, and you have to pay for Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
So you really have to find the right and suitable talent for your particular film. So in our case, we work with people that have, studios with $100 or $2 million budgets, or the indie producer with a $3 million budget. And what we help is we supplement the creative process. So let's say a producer comes to us and says, hey, I really like these 5 or 6 actresses or actors for my lead. And then, based on him or her liking them in a creative way, we can supplement that decision and help them understand sort of what's their value by territory for their marketing campaigns. So how did their films do in different media, sort of box office, or should that film go straight to home video, VOD, or Netflix? So we really help to use whatever the creative team comes up to and really put another dimension to it, because we have that very deep data on these pattern recognition software. We can rank an actor by territorial value, by media value, whether that actor is best in box office or theatrical, home video, or TV, which genre. So we really supplement, and then also social media following, social media analytics. So we help and try to help creatives, or in general executives, supplement their gut feel with data. So that's a more objective way of making decisions, like combining both. That's where we see the the industry can really benefit from
Right.
this new technology that's available now.
No, I totally get that. And Hollywood, is definitely an industry that until now has been built more on feel and charisma
Yeah.
and taste. And I see how you're injecting some, real science into it. But we just heard about how Jon Voight was discovered, an unknown actor. And there's a whole business of casting directors who like to find the unknown talent and turn them into the stars of tomorrow.
Yeah, of course.
Can your algorithms account for that?
I don't think that we're probably best suited to find unknown talent. We're not taking castings directors' jobs away at all. I mean, they are a very important part of the process. What we do is we help the business. So once a casting director often they come up with a list of 10, 15 people, then we provide data for the people where there is data and forecasts, and if there's not, then there's nothing. Then the executive still has to make a decision based on either the creative or the data or combine both. So we see ourselves very much as a supplementary tool. Because if you look into other industries, data and analytics, it's very normal, whether it's retail or pharmaceutical. Everybody in business uses data to make better decisions. And in the film industry, that trend hasn't happened just yet.
Right.
And there's a belief, I think, that it's either creative or data. And we are very strong. I'm a creative producer. My background, I spent 10 years in finance and produced creatively. And so I see kind of both worlds. I was used to working a lot with data, but then I worked in the film industry and worked creatively and really saw that by combining both, you can really make best decisions. Use your creative gut feel, intuition, or experience for creative decisions, but supplement it with a very objective, data-driven insight or more insights, and really try to make something that works creatively, but also in the business sense.
So,
that's kind of where we come in.
Absolutely. And how much of an appetite are you seeing there in Hollywood for these data-driven algorithms? A lot of people, obviously, in Hollywood, as you mentioned, are creative types, and they want to believe that it is their sort of genius that has discovered this film or the script, or that they have the insight to see how that actor is going to do. So if they're using your technology, are they being quiet about it?
It's obviously not an industry that's readily accepting new technology in general. When you think about film on film sets, you see drones, you see most modern production technology. VFX these days took leaps in the last 10 years. But when you go really in the business side of film, things didn't evolve since 20 years. So people still work in a very old school way. And there's often not a real methodical risk assessment in terms of understanding which projects, especially when you're a bigger company, you have a slate of projects, how to assess them and how to risk them in the right way.
Right.
And that's where we come in, and we really try to bring that knowledge in, sort of best practice from finance and science and entertainment industry, because our team, one of our team members, our CTO, is a rocket scientist. He built these risk assessment systems for NASA for 20 years. Another executive of us worked for the studios for 15 years. So we really want to bring in these best practices and see and give people that tool and make them understand the value. And I think slowly people are responding to it because they see Netflix, for example, uses data and they're able to make decisions much quicker, much more efficiently. They're able to produce 800 shows and 80 films a year, which a studio will be tough because the decision-making process is so slow and convoluted. And we can really help with that.
Right. Netflix is pretty open about that. All right, Tobias Queisser, thank you so much for telling us about your fascinating company. Thank you.
Thank you very much.